Hey, what up, everybody? Morning, man. I took a good little break, well deserved. I felt, it was a lot, but this has just been so fun to do. Thank you again for continuing to kind of jump in. The water's fine, like just enjoying this with me. My This past week was just family time, just getting to hang out with my dad. You know, um, he came up with this great idea. He's like, "Hey, you know what? Let's do music lessons together." I was like, hell yeah, because I love music. I've wanted to learn piano forever. And I just realized this week that I have a singing voice. I'm not quite a singer, but I can cultivate something. There's something to work with, and with some vocal coaching, I might be able to carry a pretty solid tune. But so every Saturday, Guitar Center in Brownsville, 10 a.m. You know, me and Dad we're going together, and he's learning drums. He's already like an Elvis performer, and does country. He does good. He did a show just this last week and made good money. Just singing his heart out, and it's good stuff. Um, I'm learning piano, and so I'm plucking away and going, oh. Like my first lesson, it was so approachable. It was so shocking. I thought this was going to take forever, and it's going to take a long time to master because that's what I want. But I just didn't realize how approachable it was. And that was very encouraging. So just been busy hanging out with family, um, getting to go out and making friends at like downtown nightlife. Shout out AJ, really cool dude. Probably going to do a podcast with that guy. Um, Shout out Rick, really cool guy. Um, yeah, just a lot of people that I've been meeting lately. That's just been like, yeah, it's. We always think it's harder to make friends in adulthood, but really you just gotta put yourself out there and be sociable. But that can be hard. So that's where I'm at. It's been good, real good. Today, man, it's a biggin, but it comes across scary because I am white. But I wanted to talk about race and immigration today. Um, it's just immigration in particular is just kind of at the forefront. It's become a pretty major issue with the nature of our border. Being in a border town, you kind of see it. The first line, you see like people coming in and all that, and it is pretty like okay, at a practical level. The most painful part of the immigration conundrum is that your heart breaks, but like you only have so much resource to allocate and give. Like there's too many in need, like that are coming. Like maybe if it was a steadier kind of feed through, you know. But right now, these caravans of people coming through, it's a lot, and they're being sent to these sanctuary cities all over, and devastating like the local communities and economies, and for the first time, you're beginning to see kind of this political shifting and stirring because um, the right politically conservatives are starting to gain a little bit more uh, following from minority voters because they feel like in the black community. I mean, imagine you've suffered all this injustice and dealt with all these problems. You're finally starting to get a little progress. It's finally things getting better and better, and now you're being kind of displaced. You're kind of being given a backseat again, um, because unfortunately the motivation for liberalism kind of demands an ever ongoing crisis, some kind of fire to put out, and it's like in order for the most liberal version. I won't say Democrats because I hate two party thinking. I just hate that. But the most liberal version of thinking is that you want to open your hearts to everyone. But the most conservative way of thinking is like, well, yeah, but we have to be practical about this. And sometimes that's very cold, that's very harsh. Um, but the conservatives, they miss out. It's like, no, you got to remember, these are human beings. These are precious lives. These are special, sacred lives. And so the two, I love. Like, may it never be that we only have one way of thinking and one way of doing politics, and only, like, if we all start thinking the same, we're doomed. We're just doomed. Like, we have to cooperate, and that's why just immigration and racism, that those two kind of collide, because you're dealing with people who are different from you, and I think there's a lot to dive into in that regard. Um, it's so funny. I live in Brownsville, Texas. If you go down the map, you don't go farther. Like, it's the very tip of Texas. It is the farthest south, town in Texas, and you don't go further south. And it's a really interesting place. I feel like we, like, culturally, I feel like all the trends of America, like 5 years later, Brownsville will catch up and be like, yeah, that's cool. And so, like, it's just kind of its own little magical little place. But I've grown to really love it. Um, it's so funny right now. There's a really interesting thing that's happening. So the nation at large is dealing with immigration. And the fight is like, hey, you're kind of disrupting our culture. You're disrupting our familiar, our layout. I'm having to walk around people to get to things. Like, I'm dealing with people who, in Central and South America, that level of machismo culture, like really strong, like alpha male, women should be in their place in the kitchen, and men should. I mean, it's really stout. Like, it's much stronger in some of these, like in Central America. I know this because I worked at a refugee center years ago in Harlingen, and we would process unaccompanied alien children, so ages 12 to 17. So we would have kids from Ecuador, El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala, and I think we only had 2 Mexican kids that ever came through. The majority, I mean, in waves, in droves, we had kids from Central America. And these kids, they're the sweetest, but man, they did not like women telling them what to do. And where they came from, they were 14 years old, they were already welders, they were grown-ass men, and women do not tell men what to do. And so that's an example of a cultural difference. Like, these guys come, and it's like, hey, whoa, hey, chill the fuck out, dude. Like, we approach women differently here. Like, this is not how we treat women. Things like that. Where when a culture arrives, and it's just like you're confronted with it, that's when most of racism has very little to do, actually, with the color of skin. It has almost entirely everything to do with cultural clash, with a major cultural difference. What I love about America, with all my heart, is that we are trying this grand experiment, this beautiful thing. If you go to China, it is just chocked fucking full of Chinese. If you go to Japan, whole hell of a lot of Japanese. If you go to Norway, damn it, wouldn't you know it, a whole lot of Norwegians. Most countries are going to be very much them, and their borders are going to be very secure. And their point of entry and their process for getting visas and for getting work permits and living in these really cool countries that you're like, you want to visit one day and you're like, maybe I should live there. It's like, yeah, go ahead and try moving there. You're going to go through a very strenuous, very detailed, very difficult process. You're going to have to show that you're like a capable worker that contributes to their society. You're going to have to jump through hoops. You're going to have to, go through all this bullshit. And right now, in America, hey, just come on in. Just come on in. And that's maybe kind of a recipe for not so good of an outcome. But what I love about America is, man, oh man, we're winning when we all look different. I love that I look at brown mocha people and black chocolate people and white, pink, vanilla people, and and people from all stripes and all backgrounds, all religions, and we all look at each other and we go, "Fuck yeah, I'm proud to be an American." Like you, yeah, you too. Yes, yes, yes. I love that. I love that. And we fail at that, and we struggle with that. And yes, racism is alive and well in many portions of the country. But man, what a noble pursuit to try our best to be as accommodating and understanding as possible, to welcome each other, so that there's a mutual thriving. All we want is to thrive, and the only time, not the only time, but people will begin to clash when it's like, hey, you're messing with my thriving, you're messing with my family being able to really get all that we can from the promise of being able to thrive in America. Um, Sorry, that was weird. My bad. Let's see. Yeah, it's just I just had some great conversations this week around this topic. Racism in particular. It's such a mind virus. It doesn't belong. The issues that men and women have with each other, that's animal kingdom. That's not going away. We're always going to be in tension. Hormones will always rage and ebb and flow, and estrogen and testosterone will compete, at all times. That's observable in every creature that exists on Earth. The man is doing a dance to impress the woman, and the woman is going, no. And it's just like, fuck you. Like, and it's the eternal, and it's like, well, what are you bringing to the table? That is not going away, unfortunately. Like, until maybe we get that Neuralink and we can all communicate with each other in our brains. It's not going away unless we start talking about things. But it's so funny. Damn it, I rambled. So what I wanted to talk about was, so in America, yes, we at large, people are coming in, and that's hard to deal with. But in a micro level, something really interesting happening in Brownsville is these guys, us, SpaceX, is drawing in people that don't look Hispanic, because they're not. It's drawing in people who are white and black and like Indian, like Asian. And it's so interesting to hear the feedback from locals, because some are upset and some are very welcoming and accommodating. And it all centers around this same issue. It's like the problem of immigration for our nation, but in reverse, because it's local Hispanics going, hey, get out of our town. You're ruining it. You're ruining things. Like, you're disrupting our normal flow. Like, we do things a certain way around here, and you white people are coming in, and you're messing. You're dating our women, or your women are dating our men, or you're moving in, you're raising housing prices, and that's just success wherever you go. Like, markets are going to raise it anytime there's a boom. But so that's not a race thing. But very much there is this sense of like, man, these people are coming in, they're going to ruin our town. On one side, I've met plenty of people who are like, no, we love like the growth. It's like, wow, Brownsville is finally becoming like we're on the map. Something really special is happening here. Plenty of locals who feel that way also. But it's so interesting. It's so interesting to begin the dialogue about race with people here. I grew up in Brownsville. Let's see. I came here my freshman year of high school. And so as a kid, you're treated very differently. It's like, hey, this is a moldable mind. We can really train this honky. We can get this white boy. Once you're a grown man, Man, you are not treated the same. You are not treated the same. I have been told, like, hey, stay away from our women. Like, don't try to date here. We like these girls. They're not for you. I've been told that directly. Like, hey, bro, like, chill out, man. We're just talking. Like, and like, confront it very, very strongly. Like, hey, seriously, fuck off. We don't need you guys here. Like, our you know. Yeah, I was like, damn, dude. Okay, I think I just experienced a racism. Um, and it's interesting being a grown man here because the assumption is you're a bad person, and just the whatever the hell is in the air the last few years of like white privilege and like God, it's ugh, that's so racist. That's so racist to say. Like that's crazy to say. Like it's demographic privilege. Like if you go to China, Chinese people are going to have a leg up over you because they make up the majority of the country. White people make up 60+% of the population in America. And, how that came to be, sure, that was a problem, colonizing, that kind of thing. I mean, for, for most of it, like, there's a lot of land. I mean, yeah, I get it. I understand. It's like, hey, this was accomplished by destructive and aggressive and violent means. But that's history. All of history was accomplished by destructive, militant, aggressive means. Like, so, if we really went down the rabbit hole, I mean, God, like, what people group haven't committed atrocities? Like, where are the like really innocent, cool people that were like, oh yeah, we just acquired all of our land and resources by hugging each other? Like, that's I mean, come on, like, and I'm not a Christian anymore. Like, I don't believe in original sin. I haven't inherited anything. I'm not guilty of any crimes. I haven't hurt anyone. I didn't tell anyone to sit a certain place on the bus. I didn't tell anyone, like, you know I've never called anyone a racial slur. I hate racism. My hero, I remember in second grade, I lived in Des Moines, Iowa, and for the first time, it was February. It was Black History Month. So hey, this is perfect. I didn't even connect that. It was Black History Month, and I learned about Harriet Tubman for the first time, and I just thought she was the coolest person ever. Like, this person who was a slave, found freedom, but then went, you know what? I'm going back. I gotta save my people. I just thought that was the coolest thing. Like, to the bravery, the courage that takes to in the face of such odds. Um, so I get it. As a white person right now, it's weird to hear me mansplain or lecture, but it's like, you know what? I'm an American. I have a voice. I have a valid experience, and if it bothers you for me to be the one discussing this, then I'm sorry that you feel that way. But I should have a say too. You know what I mean? So I'm going to continue um, with zero shame because because I like people. I like people wherever they come from and whatever they look like. Why would you hate someone based on something they couldn't control? I didn't control being born in this skin suit. It's pink and white and oh so bright. But I can't. I don't know anything like how to change that. I can't. I wouldn't. Um, but being white in Brownsville as an older guy, it's really something. Um, but lately I've just been having these great conversations um, and coming to these wonderful conclusions. Like, no, this is a great place to live. This is a wonderful, like, because we all get to join in. We all get to thrive together. That's the aim and the goal. And culturally, you'll run into pockets of ignorant assholes. You will, but it's such a virus. It just doesn't belong. And if you're a student of culture, or I'll say it like this: if you're not a student of culture, become one. Begin now. You can start, and you can become a less offended and more understanding person. You know, and we will thrive together as a society the more we do that. The more we understand each other's culture. The other day, it made me think of that movie Coco. For the longest time, growing up here, I found it so disturbing. Dia de los Muertos, like the Day of the Dead. In Mexican culture, it's close to Halloween and all that, and they visit, and it's just a lot of skulls and this big celebration of the dead, and it's like, what is this? But after watching that movie, I was like, this explanation of like, no, this is us cherishing and remembering and memorializing in a very profound and meaningful way our great grand, like the connection to family and ancestry. I was like, oh, that's beautiful. That's amazing. Like, but when you first approach it, you just see all the skulls and all the dark imagery, the death imagery, and you're just like, what the hell is going on? But once you understand the meaning and who it is they're celebrating, it's their family. And it's like little things like that. We begin to educate ourselves. And I'm not talking about forced education. That Coco is such a great example of no one's like pushing anything down your throat. It's like, this is just a pure celebration of culture. And that's what I want to see more and more from all backgrounds, from all racial backgrounds and all nationality backgrounds in storytelling. It's like, let's just celebrate. Like, what is beautiful about this? It's so funny. Often I'm told as a white person that I don't have culture. And I laugh because that's crazy to say. Like, you've never heard of William Shakespeare? You don't know Mozart? You don't know Western civilization? Like, you don't know, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Hollywood? Not, Lord of the Rings was kind of fucking baller, you know what I mean? And not too many, it's kind of white. It's pretty white, you know what I mean? Like, what do you mean I don't have culture? I'm bathed in culture. I love culture. And I celebrate that not by raising my fist and I'm better, or I'm superior as a white person. But right now, like, it's really dangerous to be white and be like, I really enjoy being white. It's like, whoa, dude, you can't say that. That's fucking crazy. Like, you can't say that. And that sucks because I want to. Like, I like being who I am. And even though, like I said earlier, everyone's history, if you go back far enough, there are atrocities to gain resources and ground and land, like, by every people group that's ever existed. We just did it really hard, white people. And so I get it, like, and it's important that we know history and we focus on power and keep power in check. But this idea that I can't celebrate, I can't be like, no, it's cool. It's cool that, like, this culture of mine is actually pretty cool. Because, a lot of the fostered resentment right now with the white community at large, it's a pretty large community, those pockets of racism you'll find is that they find themselves unable to go, hey, but damn it, I want a parade. I'm a straight white guy. Like, I want to celebrate. Like, what do I get? Like, St. Patrick's Day, maybe? Like, what do I get? When do I get to go, you know what? I am who I am, and it's pretty fucking awesome. Like my heritage and where I come from, I really love it. Like, it's hard. It's hard because as a white person, you want to be understanding, and you want to go, look, I know that perceptively that would come across as really racist and really, like, aggro. But I just want to be like you guys. I want to be like, my black American friends that are like bathing in their self-love. Just absolutely, like, I love being black. I love being black. Being a black man is so fucking dope. Like, and it's like, and I'm here for that. I celebrate that. I'm like, fuck yeah, go you, dude. Like, go, do you. Get your money, get your success, get your family. Like, have it all. And, Hispanics, like, yes, dude. Latino, it's badass. Like, you do have rich culture. You have singing, dancing, food. You know, I got hamburgers, I got barbecue. Like we got white people got shit too, but you know what I mean. Like we all get to coalesce, and it's a beautiful thing. Like the frustration right now with white people is we want to celebrate too. We're watching everybody else have a party and a parade, and we're not getting one. And it's like, where's my party? Where's my parade? But um, we don't get together in secret and do it. You know, that's well, you. That's a great point. That's why they go and start wearing hoods and start going to secret parties, scary parades. You know, like that's what that kind of suppression forces people into. You resent not being able to celebrate your own culture because of the crimes of your past that I didn't commit, you know. But that's so hard. That's so hard. Like it forces you to resent, you know. Like when you're told you're like the whole white privilege thing is pretty rough to like take on. Like my family has been dirt poor for most of my life, and like we're well off now because they worked their asses off. Like both my parents, you know, my brothers, we were latchkey kids, you know, 80s and 90s kids. Like, you know, we didn't have a babysitter. We were just at home, like looking up for each other while they worked hard, like in dirt poor towns, like where there wasn't opportunity at all. You know, they worked at truck stops and restaurants and, you know, and grocery stores, you know, up until we came down here and finally got some motion. We finally got some things going for us. But this thing of white privilege of just being forced to accept that it's like, wait, so you're telling me I'm better than other people? Is that what you're telling me? Like that's crazy. Well, I won't accept that. I won't accept that I have a leg up on anybody. Demographically, like I said before, you're going to have more marketability and more general. There are privileges to demographics. So sure, that exists. But not because of the color of my skin, but because there are more people that look like me than anyone else. Like I was saying before, in Japan, there's Japanese privilege. In China, there's Chinese privilege. In India, there's Indian privilege. Like, you have privilege wherever you are the largest people group. And so yes, I acknowledge that privilege does exist, but not for the reason people say. Like, not because I'm white. That is not why. I refuse that. And because yeah, I grew up not having anything to my name. And it's taken a while to make, you know, something of myself. So a lot of this was, you know, from the white perspective. You know, I would love to do podcast episodes with other people or vlogs with other people. I would love to hear, you know, my friend AJ, I was talking to him the other night, you know, he has a black dad and a Latino mom and you know, so, you know, talking to people with a mixed background and with backgrounds from all over, like I would find that incredibly valuable. I wanted to speak from where I stand because that's the only place I can speak from. You know, I wouldn't dare to put people in their place. I try to be a student of culture and a student of, you know, of other people's stories and their lives and their expression of their lives. But I won't sit here and be like, you know, this or that, stereotype this, stereotype that. Like, you know, that's all bullshit and nonsense. Like, I can only speak from my experience, what it's been like to be me in a place where there's not many of me. And I found that very valuable growing up here, to be a white minority in America. There are only pockets of that. That's a rare thing. And, you know, now I have empathy, real empathy. Now, when I have a friend from Mexico who moves up north and, you know, he's around a group of people that are black or white, and they're making fun. They're having a laugh, a joke, but at his expense. I know what it feels like to have to force a little chuckle to go along with it, even though you're very uncomfortable. You know, even though like you're a black person and they're talking about your hair being so different, and it's like, yeah, it is different. Yeah, you're just going along with it because there's like 6 other guys and they're all white and you're uncomfortable. Like now, I know what that feels like to be like, yeah, you're white, you kind of suck because you're white, like, and I'm like, not really, but yeah, okay, yeah, it's funny, good one, good one, good one, good one. I get what it's like to be on that end, and now like I don't know, it's important, it's very valuable to travel and to gain that kind of insight and whatnot. But yeah, I just on the immigration issue, I just man, I feel like so who's involved, right? Let's go down the political what we talked about in the political episode. You know, we have the state governing the giving the kind of the red light, green light for who comes in and who goes out and all that. We have the immigrants, and what's really interesting is, like I said before, we're not dealing with just Mexican immigrants. Like, and a lot of Mexican Americans right now, they're jumping, they're kind of like pro-Trump right now because it's like, hey, now all these other people, they're just it's this wave of like minority groups being displaced by another minority group and being like, hey, we just started to fucking get our footing here. You're gonna start taking away the resources that helped us. Like the opportunities we had now are shrinking, and so it's this ever, and it's not racist necessarily. It begins to express that way again as the cultural clash begins. But where it begins is like, hey, you're taking away my power to thrive for my family, from the safety of my kids. You're taking that away. Like, and that's why you need a good border, because nations have, safeguard their own cultures and ways of living and traditions. And when you just throw everybody all together before they're ready, before they're practically, ready to maintain it, then that's where you're going to get an issue. So, and then you have, so the state governing it, doing a very poor job of it, by the way. The immigrants coming in, and then the Americans, the native dwellers. Those are the people in play. It's like where should the power and authority rest? Like, and who should have it? And it's clear that it's a federal border. It should be federally maintained, but right now at the federal level, it's not. It's really not. And so that's why you had this issue with Texas stepping in and going, hey, this is a Texas border. And you know what? We can't maintain this. And we have found it actually very, a good way of resisting this is with barbed wire and walls. Like, and this keeps people from illegally coming to the country. And, they may have walked a long way to get here, but now they'll get to do the process the right way, the legal way. And we can't have people breaking the law continually, perpetually to get here. Like, we really can't. It's unsustainable. Like, we will drown, and it's not like white people being replaced. No, like black people being replaced. No, like we will all, as Americans, be disrupted. It doesn't matter your background. Like it disrupts everything for everyone. So that's why it's a problem for everyone. And right now, like election year, people better get their shit together, or you're gonna see some changes. But yeah, those are the issues at play. Now we just need to, look for the leaders that are going to tell you how they plan on resolving this issue and why. And again, I only ask questions. I want you guys to draw your own conclusions. This is the circumstance, this is the issue. These people are coming here with passion and with desire. The kids that I worked with, these were 12 to 17-year-old kids. They were coming here from Guatemala and Honduras. They would wake up at 4 a.m. crying, praying, like they would do their early morning hour prayers. Fervently. They stressed so much. They would get 10-minute phone calls every weekend. Immediately, mom or dad answers the phone. Do you have the money yet? Do you have the money? Have you found work? The stress they're under. Immediately getting here. We took them through a whole program for school, learning English, learning math, learning, all that, school. And these kids are there and they want to get out of there. They want to leave because they're not here for any of that. They're here to start making money so they can send to their parents, because that's why their parents sent them there. And it's like, you have two issues here. How bad is it that a parent felt so desperate to send their 12 to 17-year-old child on this journey alone, where they're riding on the tops of trains all the way down to the border of Mexico? Kids are falling off on the tracks, getting run over, dying. Many kids are being sexually assaulted, abused all along the way, being taken advantage of. How desperate is your situation? It must be really desperate. I can't imagine a mother being that heartless. I can't. But you must be enduring genuine suffering to want to push your child to make that journey. That's hard. That's real. That's so real. And we have to, that's the kind of care we have to have for all of these people. In other instances, there are refugees from, say, the Ukrainian war, from war, and then there are bad actors and bad, people. There are always, if laws are weak, criminals will always take advantage, and there are people coming in that just, from Asia and Russia, and people who don't have the greatest of intentions, they're also coming in. So it is a complex issue. And it's so important that during this time we listen and hear stories like these, and empathize, but that we also maintain our heads and be very rational and reasonable about figuring out a process that processes and gives these guys an opportunity to become part of our nation, if they abide by the rules and the laws and the basic tenets that make us all common Americans. When you bypass that and just jump on in, you're going to start to see the culture clash. You're going to start to see the major problems. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. So, that's what I wanted to talk about today. Just, it was much more rambly than usual, but I hope you got something out of it, something beautiful. People are wonderful. Racism is conquerable. We talk about, every major movie always talks about, remember, slavery existed here. And it's also a reminder, we also ended it. We also bled and died, and it's no longer legal. Slavery might be thriving in other forms worldwide right now, but it is not legal, and it's not acceptable in daylight. It is not acceptable to be marching people around in chains because they're your human property. That doesn't exist anymore, and that's because people that looked like me bled and died. And so, yes, we had racist origins and racist, pockets, and racism exists still to this day. But we also have to remember that there are people who hate racism, who hate it. And they bled and they died to end the institution of slavery. And there are civil rights activists who look like me, who bled and sweat and cried tears to make sure that everyone got an equal shot in this country. And so while you might be reminded all the time by the people who want to remind you to keep you angry, you might be reminded at all times everywhere that you are hated or lesser than. But you're not. Not by everyone. Not by a long shot. And there's still a whole lot of love for our nation to give. There's still a whole lot of resource for our nation to give. But we just can't have it all at once. We can't have it in an out-of-control, chaotic way. It's pretty beautiful. So we got this. We're gonna stick it out, guys. Us. We're just gonna love each other through this thing. Again, thanks you guys. It's more, it never ceases to amaze. It's just a fun thing. So maybe I'll do another one tomorrow, another day. Sorry it was a long break. People, I know you were itching, you were jonesing for the next one. But I will see you in the next one. Peace out, guys.